G'day there guys, Markee here, and welcome back to another episode of r/Am I the Arsehole? Am I the arsehole for getting upset at my husband for eating part of our dinner for his lunch? As a bit of background, my husband lost his mum in January. Since then, he has been growing more and more depressed, easily irritable, paranoid, delusional, and more childlike in his behavior. After months of my pleading with him, he finally saw a counselor in July, where he was diagnosed with major depressive disorder, and then 2 days later, he quit his job without talking to me about it. We have been together for over 10 years, and these past 9 months have been the worst of our relationship. He is no longer the patient, sweet, kind, and loving man that I married. We went out of town on Saturday, and on our way back, stopped at a barbecue restaurant to pick up dinner for one night this week. Even though my husband is no longer working, I'm still doing about 90% of the cooking, cleaning, and taking care of the kids. It used to be more like 55%. So grabbing dinner for one night this week eases the burden off of me to make dinner and clean up as we have sports every Monday to Thursday evening. The money that I used for this barbecue dinner was from my fun money budget that I could have easily spent on something more selfish rather than a dinner for the family. On Sunday afternoon, I noticed that the barbecue container was sitting out on the counter and felt room temperature, like it had been sitting there for a while. When I opened it up, I noticed that about 25% of the barbecue was gone from the container. I confronted my husband about why he would eat part of the dinner that was planned for another night and then leave the container out on the counter. My husband blew up and called me selfish and childish. This resulted in him screaming that he wants a divorce, stomping around like a child, and slamming almost every door in the house. Since then, he hasn't said a word to myself or the kids other than for me to leave him alone. I don't feel like I was wrong to be upset about him eating food that was supposed to be saved for later, and there was plenty of other food to eat in the house. However, given his reaction, I would really like some strangers' opinions on if I'm an unreasonable asshole. OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. The action that I took that should be judged was getting upset at my husband for eating part of our dinner for his lunch. In regards to question 2, as to why the action might make me an asshole, I could have been more generous regarding sharing the barbecue or more understanding, and I could have just not said anything given that he's going through a tough time right now. Now in the comments, not the asshole. Maybe all things considered, tell him you agree a divorce is in the best interest of all. He's contributing nothing but stress and trouble to the family. Don't bury me in hatred for this, but a 30-year-old man who can't function or work 9 months after his mum's death is a very troubled person, and you've got a life to live and kids to raise. We all lose our mums. Hopefully we are adults with our own families by the time that sad day comes, like OP's husband. He's definitely regressed and is trying to turn his wife into his mum. Good catch and good point. Doesn't sound like a receptive therapy candidate, but you never know. Not the asshole, and his reaction based on your post is unusual. This sounds like something to do with his depressive disorder, and I would be encouraging him to keep seeing his therapist, speak to his primary care regarding medicine, etc. It's understandable that he's going through a tough time. That doesn't give him a free pass on behavior. OP says he needs to get on some sort of medication. His therapist suggested it, but he doesn't want to take it. He just has excuse after excuse, and he isn't taking ownership of any of his actions, which is making this whole situation much more difficult. Not the asshole. Here's the deal. You can't care more about his MH than he does. Having MI does not mean he gets to treat you like crap. You have to decide if you want to stay with a man who refuses to commit to treatment. This is the key info, OP. Unfortunately, you can't make someone want to get better, want to improve. He is denying his own autonomy, but also doesn't want help. I'm sorry to say he's likely going to continue to spiral for a bit. The question is how much you are going to tolerate. I'd take him up on his divorce offer and take some space for a bit, maybe a month or 2 of you living solo without you to take care of all his domestic duties. That will help him wake up. Best of luck to you. And OP says, thanks. This whole post is a bit of an eye-opener. I haven't really talked to anyone about this, other than a few people who only know that we're going through a rough patch, so it's good to get some perspective on his behavior. Not the asshole. Since he wants a divorce and wants to be left alone, you should be talking to a divorce attorney. He's gone from just being sad to lashing out at you and your children. It's not really about food. And now onto the update. I wanted to provide an update in regards to my post from almost 2 weeks ago and to sincerely thank every person who commented or messaged me. Prior to posting in the Am I the Arsehole community, I truly thought that I was being selfish and unreasonable. My husband's mind games had worked, and I was doubting my own moral compass. However, after reading through the comments, I realized that my husband was being a huge arsehole. A few days later, I talked with my husband and explained to him how I felt like he was minimizing my feelings, how I felt betrayed that he quit his job without discussing it with me, how I can't have a meaningful conversation with him anymore because he either deflects, lies, or gets angry, and how I don't deserve to be treated that way. I wish that I had a happy ending to tell you, that the come to Jesus moment worked and he vowed to change. However, he decided to move out. I believe that his intention was to hurt me by moving out, but all I felt was relief. Relief from feeling like I've been walking around on eggshells for months and that I didn't have to deal with his incredibly erratic behavior. I also felt brave enough to talk to my friends about what had been occurring behind closed doors. Talking with my friends helped tremendously, and from those conversations, I found out that my husband's new BFF that he's been hanging out with regularly since his mum died is an addict, meth and heroin addict. And then it all made perfect sense. The mood swings, the paranoia, the irritability, the delusions. I 99.9% believe that my husband is on some sort of drugs. I again talked with my husband, and he denied everything. He called me narcissistic and said that I have a big ego, that I need to get out of my ivory tower. I'm self-righteous, and that I'm abusive towards him, of which he had zero examples of when I pushed back on that statement, and I told him that I needed for him to commit to getting sober for the marriage to work. He dodged the question multiple times and finally said, "That is an ultimatum. I don't react well to those." Unfortunately, I now have to walk away before his behavior escalates any further. I have to protect myself and my children. I can't win against addiction. I have an attorney on retainer. I just need to figure out the best way forward with an angry addict husband who will probably be surprised that I'm no longer playing nice. Again, thank you to everyone who commented, upvoted comments, and messaged me. I'm so grateful that my eyes were opened enough to stop making excuses for him and blaming myself. And now in the comments, best of luck through all of this. It'll get incredibly difficult at times, but stay strong and stand your ground. For you and your children's sake. It's good that you already have an attorney. If your husband's behavior is erratic and unpredictable, you may want to have a plan to keep yourself and your children safe. Pack at least one change of clothes and a couple days worth of any necessary medications for yourself and your children. Keep this bag in your car. If he's under the influence of something and you feel unsafe, you'll be able to leave quickly. And edit to add, keep your car keys in your pocket at all times. If you leave them on a counter or in your purse or on a hook somewhere and he gets angry, he may get to the keys before you can, and you'll be unable to leave. Consider also hiding some cash in your car, and or keeping at least one credit card or debit card in your pocket as well, and maybe your driver's license. Addicts are unpredictable, and it's unclear exactly what drugs he might be using. Be ready to get yourself and your kids out. Good luck. This sounds like a mashup of some of my own and some of my friends' experiences. I will say that being transparent with your friends will make you feel much, much saner, and you should keep doing it. The weakness of people as destructive and manipulative as your husband is that they can't be transparent. They keep things vague and rely on other people's good nature to assume the best of them. Laying your circumstances out to others will also be clarifying it to yourself, and it'll really firm up your sense of reality. He is relying on your continued silence to protect his image, and he doesn't deserve the sacrifice from you. And in a sick kind of way, it's almost good that your husband's deterioration is at least partially due to substance abuse. Most people you talk to will have someone in their lives whose personality has changed in mind-boggling, incredibly sad ways due to substance abuse. So there is more empathy and support out there for you than you might think if you go to seek it out. And I feel for your husband and hope he pulls himself out of his self-destructive spiral. But your first obligation is to yourself and your kids, and you do not need to keep self-immolating for him. And OP replies to that, "Thank you. I really hope that he gets help before he does any further damage to himself, but I can't help him if he refuses to help himself. In some ways, I feel like he's more likely to get help if he doesn't have someone constantly cleaning up after his messes and caring for him. I would like to believe that I'm saving him by walking away, and if not, at least I've saved my children from thinking that this type of behavior is love." Our next post is titled, "Would I be the arsehole if I told my daughters the truth about their mum?" So I, 29 male, have 4 kids, all girls, aged 13, 12, 7, and 4, and 1 on the way. I want a boy because I want a junior, but I wouldn't mind another girl. I'm a girl dad. My oldest two are with my ex-girlfriend, and me and her were together in high school when we found out we were expecting. Our first daughter was born when we were 16 and our second was at 17. We broke up amicably when we were 19 and had been great co-parents. My ex has a drug problem. It was bad to say the least. She was able to hide it from our daughters, but it was getting worse as time went on. She wanted to get clean, so left our daughters with me and went to rehab to get right. This was 2 years ago. Now, my daughters haven't seen her in person, but they speak and FaceTime, and every time they ask why they haven't seen her, she says she has to go, and I know my ex is hurting. Sometimes she calls me crying and asks if she's a bad mum, and I tell her that she's a great mum because she wants to get better for our daughter's sake and her sake. My daughters aren't idiots either, so they know something is going on, and I won't budge on what it is. Now here is my dilemma. I want to tell them where their mum is and why she's there, but I don't want to do that without her signing off on it and her being present because I feel like as their parents, we should tell them together. I don't know what I should do. Would I be the arsehole if I just straight up told them without their mother signing off or being present? OP has offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the arsehole. I believe if I do tell them, their mum wouldn't be there to tell them with me that I would be the arsehole because she didn't sign off on it, and she wouldn't be able to tell them straight up why she left. I feel it would somehow be disrespectful towards her as their mother. Now in the comments, your daughters are old enough to know. Discuss with your ex the proper way to tell them. Her honesty and accountability is part of her oath to long-term sobriety. Your girls are old enough that they may have figured out more than you think. I assure you they discuss it with each other and likely other people. Maybe speak to a child psychologist before you speak to the kids to help you plan the conversation and to anticipate the questions. This is a conversation that you need to be prepared for and to guide, or it will go south quickly. A drug and alcohol counselor may be better, as they will have more specific experience working with the children of addicts. Even better if they can set up an appointment together with her counselor to help them both understand how to approach her in this specific situation. You would be the arsehole if you told them without talking to their mum first. While they might be old enough to handle it, it's really something you should have her on board with first, otherwise it could end up going badly if they mention it while FaceTiming with her. You've already said that she's trying, and that you guys are co-parenting well. Don't ruin that. No one has actually said this, so I'm going to. You must talk to your ex, but if she says that she really doesn't want you to, you do not have to obey her. It's a judgment call that you have the authority to make, so if it comes to it, you can say, "I'm telling them anyway," and leave it at that. You seem like a nice guy, and I can see that you don't want to hurt or stress out your ex, but you're a dad first. You must do what you think is in the best interests of your children. And now on to the update. So after I made the post on Wednesday, on Friday, I got a call from my ex and we had a conversation. I told her the girls had been again asking questions about where she has been for the last 2 years, and that they deserve answers. I told her that I wasn't going to do it without her there no matter what. She said okay, and thanked me between the tears, and she said she appreciated me, and I told her I appreciated her for giving me 2 of the 4 pieces, soon to be 5 pieces, that make my world, and that whatever happens, I got your back. She says she's gonna fly in, and we could finally have a talk. Now Sunday comes, and it's around 1 p.m. She knocks on the door, and my 12-year-old answered the door, and as soon as she saw her mum, she jumped into her arms, yelling and crying, as my 13-year-old turned around and jumped into her arms also, and they all just rolled around, crying, kissing, and hugging, and I'm not gonna lie, it caused me to cry a little bit. After 10 minutes, my ex thanked me and my wife for looking after the kids, and then me, my ex, and our daughters went into the backyard to talk. Our 13-year-old started it with why she left, and she replied and said that they were old enough to know the truth, and basically said it was because she was a drug addict. She spilled it all out. How she abused drugs and why she decided to stop when she realized it was going to end in either her death or losing everything, and she wasn't going to let that happen. She continued by saying that she loved the girls and that she wanted to get better for them, and she was sorry for leaving them like that, and that she loved them more than anything. My daughters then asked me why I didn't tell them the truth, and I told them I felt that it was the best decision to protect them, and I was sorry I lied to them. And I continued that I finally realized when they needed to know the truth was when they started continuously asking questions that I didn't want to answer without their mum, and that seeing their mum cry over them finally got me to tell them the truth. They understood, and they all cried. It was great to see. The rest of the day my ex and our girls were talking and playing, and the girls were telling her about school and their friends and their activities, and it made me happy. They played the rest of the day, and all three watched a movie in the girls' room and fell asleep. It's Monday morning as I'm writing this, and 1 hour ago, me and my ex dropped them off at school, and we went back again where she thanked me and my wife for looking after our daughters, and that she could never repay me, and we had a group hug. Thanks everybody for the advice both in the comments and the messaging. I really appreciate your help and advice. Now in the comments, you're a good dad, and sounds like you have your crap together, but damn, let's hear it for your wife. Dealing with an ex like this? Standing ovation for her, man. She's a keeper for sure. OP says, yeah, my wife is a frickin' trooper. Her and my ex have always gotten along, and she was more than happy to fill that role and treat them like they are her own, and that makes me happy. Those girls have 3 people who love them so fiercely, even through serious adversity. What a gift for those children. This is exactly how it's supposed to be with separate families working together for the best of the kids involved, not playing chess with the kids as pawns against the other parent. Such a heartwarming update. You are an awesome parent, and your daughters will really appreciate you both protecting them and being straight with them when they are older and fully understand. And OP replies, I really hope they can understand further when they get older. And thank you for calling me an awesome parent. I really appreciate it. Good job, dude. Being open about this kind of stuff towards our children is so important. We need to be open towards them in the hopes that they learn from our mistakes. It also gives a deeper connection between parent and child when a child sees their parent being vulnerable. You and your ex have really done a great job here. Your current wife too. It sounds like she is supporting, understanding, and loving about the whole situation. Well done to her as well. And OP replies, thank you for your words, man. I really appreciate it. My wife has been a trooper throughout this entire ordeal, and she has never once complained. My ex has become a better person because deep down, she is a great person who made a mistake. I'm proud that she is the mother of my daughters, and I'm proud to call my wife, that amazing woman, my wife. And that is the end of the episode today, guys. I really do hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to smack that like button. And if you didn't, make sure to smack that dislike button. As always, I hope you have a great day, night, sleep, whatever you're doing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.